Okay, we're out here today doing some more testing with the Smokeless muzzle loader I built a couple of years ago. The bullet that actually works great in this thing is the 275 Parker BE bullet. However, you do have to have a bullet sizer to size this bullet down so it will just barely go down in the bore of your rifle. It can't be too loose and it can't be too tight, so that can kind of be tricky. So recently I've been working on coming up with a Sabot load, or a Sabot, however you want to say it, and that will keep you from having to size bullets, or if you run out of size bullets, you got a backup plan here. And so I have been using these Harvester easy load high pressure Sabots, and it's a 45 caliber outside and holds a 40 caliber bullet. And we're going to take these Hornady bullets, and we're going to take the bullet but use a different Sabot with it. Here's the Hornady bullet they use with their Sabots, but we're going to use the blue Harvester Sabot with it. Got a tube on my funnel here so we can get it down in the break. I have measured out exactly 90 grains of H4895 powder. I'm going to tap it a couple times, make sure it goes down the bottom. We have a tube we're going to put inside the break so we can load our Sabot and our bullet down through that. You put the bullet in the Harvester Sabot, high pressure Sabot. Get it started. Should be a good snug fit. Once again, make sure my powder's in the bottom. Push it all the way home. Snug. Make sure you take your tube out of the muzzle brake. This rifle uses a primer module that I made myself. It's a little bit different from the Hankins primer modules, but they work the same way. It's the same idea. It's got a 1/4 inch tube, goes down in the breech plug. We're going to put a fresh breech plug in it. It's got a large rifle Magnum primer in it. Make sure we're on safe here. Okay, we're ready to fire. I've got my chronograph on. You can see my chronographs out here ready to receive our bullet data. Here's the chronograph. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. I'll let you know what we get. We're shooting at a target that's 100 yards away. Chronograph data says 2909. We're shooting a 200 grain 40 caliber bullet about 2909. So we're getting velocities that are up there close to a 300 Winchester short Magnum. Let's see what we got on the target. Okay, we got 3 shots on this target 100 yards away. First 2 shots went through the same hole up here, and the third shot came down here. We're about an inch away, I'd say. Typically, I've been getting groups from anywhere from about 1 MOA to about 1.5 MOA. So this is a good alternative for the smokeless muzzle loaders. We're getting a lot of velocity here, a lot of energy, and we don't have to worry about sizing the bullets. These Harvester high pressure Sabots really are high pressure because we got a smokeless powder in there. We've probably got over 40,000 PSI, but it's doing the job. Okay, now we're going to test a Remington 700 ML rifle. I got this barrel at a great deal on from Brownells. Turned it down. It's a 1 in 22 twist barrel, so this is just a little bit different from the Brux barrel that's on the Savage. But this is a Douglas barrel. They make really good barrels. And I turned it down so the diameter here is 1 1/8 inches. And I've got a little bit of a Savage thread here for the Savage barrel nut just to take care of the head spacing. And then the other threads here for the Remington to go down here in the action. So that just made it easy to head space the barrel. And this is a muzzle loader, so this is not a normal firearm. This bolt does not have a raceway here to go through, so you cannot put a normal Remington bolt in it. It's made just as a muzzle loader, so it's not a normal firearm. We're going to load this one much like we did the other one. This rifle also works well with the Parker 275 BE bullets, but the diameter of this bore is just a little bit different from the Brux, so you have to size these bullets for this barrel. So hopefully with the Sabots we're going to not have to worry about that so much. One other point, this brake has a diameter that is just a little bit bigger than some of my other brakes. The reason is I was thinking that the Sabot needed to have a little bit more room in there, so when the bullet comes out it does not interfere with the bullet exiting. You don't want those two interfering with each other because it might throw the bullet off. So the bore in this brake is a little bit bigger than the rest of them. Most of my brakes are about a 1/2 inch. This one's quite a bit bigger than that. And since the twist on this barrel is 1 in 22 instead of 1 in 20 like the Brux, a little bit slower twist, we're going to use a little bit more powder. This time we're going to use 92 grains of the H4895. Weighed out very carefully and exactly. Once again, we want to go all the way to the bottom. We're going to take our Hornady bullet that we've got, but we're not going to use a Hornady Sabot. We're going to use the Harvester high pressure Sabot with this thing. Put it down through our tube. Start it with the starter. And then we're going to push it home with our ramrod. Make sure our powder's down. Push it all the way home. This is a great ramrod made for this application because this ramrod folds up like that. You can almost stick it in your pocket, take it with you hunting, and then you don't have to worry about having a ramrod on your rifle either. So it eliminates that problem of maybe having a barrel band here and it pulling on your muzzle or whatever that. So I would recommend these ramrods. They're available from Arrowhead LLC. They're not cheap, but it's a really good ramrod. Has a spin jag on it, made for the Parker 275 BE bullets. It's well worth what you pay for it. This rifle has got the Hankins type breech plug in it. It's made by Arrowhead LLC. So this primer module is a little bit different from mine, but it's the same idea. You got a tube here on the end that fits in the breech plug, seals off the gases, and you have I'm using a Winchester large rifle Magnum primer to set this thing off. And I have modified this bolt with a part that came from Arrowhead to accept this and adapt it to this rifle. So now we have a rifle with a 200 grain 40 caliber bullet in, a Sabot, that's going to make it work with the 45 caliber bore. 1 in 22 Douglas chrome moly barrel. Let's see what kind of velocity we can get out of this one. Reset my chronograph, put on some ears. We're shooting 100 yards, just see if we can hit the paper. I've typically gotten anywhere from an inch to 1.5 inch groups with this rifle. I think the worst group I got last week at 300 yards is about 1.5 MOA. Okay, we got 2918, 2,918 feet per second with 92 grains of H4895 powder. Okay, I made a sight adjustment on the Remington 700 ML that we've got the Douglas 1 in 22 twist barrel on. Been converted. It's got the Hankins type breech plug in it. It's got the kit from Arrowhead LLC, converts it to the Smokeless muzzle loader design. This time we're going to use 92 grains of H4895 powder. Make sure it goes all the way to the bottom in the breech plug. We have our Hornady 200 grain 40 caliber bullets, the Hornady SST muzzleloader bullet. But instead of using their Sabot, we're going to use the Harvester high pressure Sabot. Harvester Sabot with the Hornady SST 200 grain 40 caliber bullet. Take our ramrod, make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. Should be tight. You got to have some back pressure for the powder to burn correctly. Went all the way to the bottom. Make sure you take your loader tube out of your muzzle brake. Okay, so we got our 200 grain 40 caliber bullet loaded in here with the Sabot, 92 grains of H4895 powder, and the Douglas 1 in 22 twist barrel. I did make a sight adjustment. We'll see if we're a little bit closer to bullseye now. Probably going to shoot a group and see what we get at 100 yards. Okay, I'm going to load my primer module. I always load it with a fired primer module in it just for safety purposes. We got another primer module over here. It's got our large rifle Magnum primer in it. Make sure it's on safe. On safe. Okay, we're ready. Wear safety glasses and hearing protection. That brake's kind of loud. Let's see what kind of velocity we get this time. Okay, we're within a couple of inches of center that time. We're going to load it up again, see what happens. Our velocity was 2,911 feet per second, 2911, the 200 grain bullet. Okay, I've got a fired primer module in here. Rifle's on safe. We're going to load it up again. Once again, we got 92 grains, H4895, very carefully weighed out. Make sure it goes to the bottom. Got our Hornady 200 grain SST, 40 caliber bullet. Put in the harvester, high pressure Sabot. Started. Good and snug. Bore's kind of fouled on this Douglas 1 in 22 twist barrel. Trying to get the powder charged. I'm going to take out the fired primer module. Put in a primer module. It's got the Winchester large rifle Magnum primer in it. Roll safe. Okay, let's see what kind of velocity we get this time. Eyes and ears. 100 yards away. Okay, got 2 shots on paper now. Let's now take a look at them. Velocity that time's a little bit slower. We had 2867. Still, we're looking at velocities and energies greater than a 30-06 deer rifle out of a muzzle loader. This is my chronograph I've been using. It's a Alpha Chrony. I put a couple of light bulbs on it. That seemed to take away the problems when the sun's in and out on cloudy days, so that's what I normally use to measure my velocities. Okay, we're down at the 100-yard target now. We just fired 2 shots out of the Remington 700 ML with the Douglas 1 in 22 twist barrel. Had 92 grains of H 4895 powder, and then we got 2 holes here. They're not quite touching each other. I'd say we got about a ½ inch group there with velocities over 2,800 feet a second out of a muzzle loader, 200 grain bullet. So I wanted to share this. I thought some other people might want to try this with your rifle. Okay, I tested 2 different rifles today. First of all, I tested my Savage with the 1 in 20 twist Brux barrel, 45 caliber barrel. Used about 90 grains of H 4895 in that. I cannot guarantee that it will work for you. Use these loads at your own risk. Every rifle's different, but you need to weigh this powder very carefully. Use the Harvester high pressure Sabots with the Hornady 200 grain 40 caliber SST bullet. In the Remington 700 ML rifle I built with the Douglas 1 in 22 twist barrel. Use a little bit more powder, it's a slower twist. 92 grains of this powder work great in my rifle. Don't know what'll work good in your rifle. You need to start lower, work your way up, okay? Also remember, if you've got a break, that break may need to be bored out a little bit to give you a little bit more room there between the bullet and the Sabot that are trying to come out at the same time. Worked well for me, so I just wanted to share with some other people. Remember, weigh your powder charge. Start a little bit lower, work your way up. Don't know if these loads will work for you. Use them at your own risk.